Do you remember back in 2021 when Battlefield 2042 pooped the bed worse than an incontinent 80-year-old that put dates on his figgy pudding before bed? Yeah, me too, and to be honest, it left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth, as I think it did a lot of people who were invested in that game. And this is where Battlebit Remastered comes in, a game that in my opinion does everything that Battlefield 2042 tried to do and just so much more. So in this video I want to talk about 5 different things that Battlebit Remastered does so much better than Battlefield 2042. So number 1, team play. Team play in Battlefield 2042 was near non-existent. There was no voice over IP at launch. The introduction of specialists basically meant that everyone was just a one-man army playing their own game just with other people around them. However, in Battlebit Remastered, we are taken back to the glory days of Battlefield of old and given real, detailed, in-depth team play. For starters, one of the best things about this game is that anybody can revive anybody. What this actually means is, in practice, is that when you go down in the battlefield, provided that you haven't run off on your own like John Rambo after snorting a line of G Fuel, you're going to get revived 9 times out of 10. The difference is when you choose a medic, you'll then be able to revive people quicker. However, that doesn't mean that you're waiting for like 3 medics who are a mile away, who, by the way, in Battlefield 2042, when it launched, you couldn't even see that there were medics near you. In Battlebit Remastered, you were told exactly where the nearest medic is and where the nearest teammate is, and I don't know why, but it seems like the community is just really eager to help. And that's why you very rarely have to go back to the deployment screen if you have other teammates around you, because everyone wants to help everyone. Now, on top of this, I did mention the voice over IP. The VoIP in Battlebit Remastered is absolutely amazing. You have a local chat, you have a squad chat, and when you die, you also have that brief moment where you're able to talk to the person who killed you. This leads to so much better communication. You can actually talk to people in your squad and devise bigger picture plans, and then when you're in the heat of battle and you need to tell someone that there's a sniper 300 clicks away, you can tell the people in your immediate vicinity. All of these things gel so well together, and actually, even though the graphics look like Roblox, leads to so much more immersion than Battlefield 2042. And not to mention, it could just be downright hilarious when you kill someone and they complain to you that they were just stuck in some of the map and that's why they couldn't shoot back.
Man, I'm stuck! I'm stuck! Man! I was stuck!
Next, I want to talk about the weapons. Battlefield 2042 released with a measly 22 weapons. Now look, I'm not just moaning for the sake of things, but when Battlefield 2042 released, these 22 weapons actually got very stale very quickly. And outside of a few outliers that were actually decent, most of the guns felt lackluster and they just weren't fun to use. Enter Battlebit Remastered, boasting 79 weapons at launch with more to come. And I know that people are going to say, oh yeah, but it's easy because of the low poly graphics. Look, I'm no game developer, but gun models and mechanics are not something that is incredibly hard to do. And just by adding that little bit more variety and that little bit more spice into people's loadouts makes the game so much more fun to play. You're not going to be dying to the same gun over and over again. And although metas will develop and evolve over time, the fact of the matter is there is just so much choice and so much variety in Battlebit that compared to Battlefield 2042, even now, it's just that much more fun to play. Not only that, is you actually have real life weapons with their real life names, which for me personally is a huge win over something that's called like the AEN3B, which is something that is totally made up. Number 3 is the gunplay. The gunplay in Battlebit Remastered is absolutely stellar. The guns have weight, they have punch to them. The ballistic system works incredibly well. In Battlefield 2042, when it released, there was so much bloom in the game that it was actually incredibly hard to tell if you were actually missing your shots, if the hit detection was poor, or if it was literally just baked into the game that you weren't meant to be hitting targets at range. Whereas in Battlebit Remastered, you are directly rewarded for having good aim and a good shot, which incidentally I don't, but that's besides the point. I know that if I practice and I get better with the guns, I will be able to hit more shots and I will be getting rewarded for that effort. Not only that, the information you get given when you're actually building your loadouts is absolutely phenomenal. You are told how long your reload time is. When you add specific attachments, how much is that going to affect your reload time or your recoil or your accuracy or your range? All of this is given to you in hard, cold data and you are able to analyze the numbers and make an informed decision about which of these attachments you want to use on your gun that's best going to suit your playstyle. There is no hidden mechanics behind the scenes. There is nothing that the developers are trying to keep from you, just the cold hard facts, and this makes making guns and making loadouts and customizing builds to suit your playstyle just such an enjoyable experience, especially when you compare it to the clunky UI that was found in Battlefield 2042 with a T system that made everything confusing and just little bars which gave you virtually no information about what the attachments themselves actually did. Number 4, I want to talk about the scale. When Battlefield released, they were boasting 128 player servers. This excited a lot of people, but understandably left a lot of people worried. And quite rightly, to be honest, because when the game launched, it was a total mess. The maps were not optimized to hold that many people, the game itself was not optimized to be able to run smoothly at 128 players, and this left a very frustrating, buggy, and unstable mess. But where Battlebit's concerned, because of the low poly graphics, because they are able to use your CPU much more effectively when they're rendering the graphics, I mean, the game is only 2 gigabytes for Christ's sake, well that means that they're able to put a lot more of the processing power into handling the size of the servers. What this means is that you're left with 19 unique maps, some of which work flawlessly with 254 players, whereas some are more designed to carry a smaller amount and maybe you do 32v32. Either way, you get the choice. In Battlefield 2042, they dug their heels in, and when the game released, you could only play in 128 player servers. However, in Battlebit, you get that player agency, and if you're sick to death of playing these massive 254 player matches, you can go back to something more traditional and do like a 32v32 rush game mode. The options are limitless, and the scale of this really plays in beautifully with what they're trying to achieve with this sort of combined arms, massive scale war that's going on. On top of this, because of the graphics, they're able to make absolutely gargantuan maps, and you don't mind that the rooms don't have furniture in and they don't feel lived in because it's not meant to. It's all part of the aesthetic, and it lends itself to the idea of this massive war just perfectly. And then finally, I want to talk about something which is probably a little bit of a low blow when it comes to Battlefield 2042, and that is classes. When 2042 released, they removed a staple of the Battlefield franchise. Now, they have since added classes later, but that was long after the game had pretty much died a horrible, horrific, grotesque death. In Battlebit, you have 6 different classes that you can choose from, each with varied utility and each having their own place within the synergy of a squad. You can have a squad that's got a player who's playing assault, that's got a grappling hook for extra mobility, or a sledgehammer so that they can break down walls and make little potholes for people to shoot through. You can have a medic or 2 in your squad that can follow your whole squad around and revive you extra quickly and actually give you health. There's no health regen in this game, which means that a medic actually has quite a vital role within the squad. You can have a couple snipers that can provide overwatch. You can have engineers that are on anti-tank duty. Honestly, the synergies you can get in this game are absolutely phenomenal, and it was something that was seriously lacking when 2042 released. Battlebit does Battlefield a lot of ways better than Battlefield can do it itself, and it's resulted in this game absolutely blowing up and becoming one of the #1 best-selling games this week on Steam. That is absolutely insane when you consider that this game was built by just 3 separate developers, and they have worked on it over 7 years, and I tell you what, it really shows. These big AAA studios that are just focusing on graphics and pumping out as much as they can within a short time frame so that they can capitalize on us and get our money is absolutely disgusting. And Battlebit Remastered is showing the whole industry that you can just make an absolutely stellar game with things like server browsers that Battlefield forgot to put in, and all of these little game mechanics and tweaks that make the gameplay experience that much more enjoyable. But anyway, I really hope you're enjoying Battlebit Remastered as much as I am. That's it from me today. I'm Average Joel. Peace.